That sucks.
She-Hulk Episode 2, Superhuman Law. Before I start this video, I would like to say that if you haven't seen my first video reviewing the first episode of She-Hulk, then that will be in the pinned comment down below, also in the description. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that after this video. We open with the news saying that Titania, who was the superpowered drag queen from the last episode, has been taken into custody. At least that's what the headline says, but the reporter says this.
Powered influencer Titania caused panic while fleeing traffic court.
So did Jennifer just let Titania go, or did she actually get brought into custody? Because we're getting two sides of information. We're getting the reporter saying that she ran away, and the headline saying that she was captured. So what is actually going on here? Don't worry, because we actually never get that question answered, so there's no point. Then the reporter says that Jen is now the new superhero of the country, and the story is making its rounds in the news. Then it cuts to a reporter and another guy. They're talking outside of the courthouse because this guy that's being interviewed was there at the scene. And he says this.
Can you tell us about what you saw today?
Yeah. So this chick, pretty decent,
Yeah, because that's definitely how guys talk.
turned into a Hulk. Like a chick Hulk.
A She-Hulk?
Exactly.
Wait, so you're telling me that she also got her name from the news? Because I'm really tired of this trope of superheroes getting their names from the news. And oh, it's so cool because the news came up with it. Like, whoever's coming up with these names at these news companies better be getting paid a lot of money, because they're coming up with the name of the guy. They did it in Iron Man, and I thought, hey, that's kind of cool, that's kind of quirky, that's kind of new, that's fresh, ooh. Then Daredevil did it, and I'm like, I've seen that before in Marvel, but you know, I'll let it slide, because it's Daredevil. And now this show did it, and now I'm getting pretty tired of it. Then we cut to see what Jen has been getting up to, and she's going to a bar with her friends. She's outside the bar, and you can hear people in the bar chanting, She-Hulk, She-Hulk, because, you know, that's just what people in bars do, you know? Jen says she doesn't want to be bothered by people, and she just wants to go and hang out with her friend, undisturbed and chill. You would think that her friend would respect her decision and decide to go somewhere else that's a little more low-key and people won't be bothering her. Well, you would think wrong, because her friend says this.
Lady Hulk, Girl Hulk, She-Hulk. Come on, just give them what they want.
Yes, because all good friends peer pressure you into doing things that you're uncomfortable with. I'm gonna talk about the friend character later because it gets worse. It's pretty bad. Anyway, she walks into the bar and people start praising her and still chanting, She-Hulk, She-Hulk. Then she complains that she's being compared to the Hulk, even though she has the same power set as the Hulk, but whatever.
It's so dumb. I can't even exist without being a derivative of the Hulk.
That's a pretty dumb name too.
Except she is a derivative of the Hulk. You were literally created by his blood getting into your system. That is the definition of derivative. I understand the sentiment of not liking superheroes that are just superhero opposite gender stereotype, because that's literally everywhere we look when we look into a comic. You've got Spider-Woman, you've got Lady Thor, you have Supergirl, you have Batgirl, you have Batwoman. It's really annoying because it's like the laziest way to name characters ever. Hey, let's just take a character, switch the gender, and then that's the name. I get paid too much for this. So instead of making shows that support this line of thinking, we make a show that is a completely unique take on a completely unique character that's just not a spin-off of another character. Anyway, the lawyer guy from the first episode shows up and says this.
But don't you think it's a little unsportsmanlike to suddenly debut superpowers just to drum up publicity for yourself?
Only you would think that.
So, seriously, how did you get these powers?
I really don't feel like talking about it.
Nepotism. I knew it.
Yes, she definitely wanted to get her powers from a superhuman monster with the power to destroy planets just so she could be more famous and get more jobs at her law firm.
There's a hot chick over there. I'm gonna go talk to it.
Who wrote this? What guy talks like that? If the writers want to constantly write men in this terrible light, then I at least expect you to do it with some accuracy. Or I don't know, maybe hire a male writer who actually knows how men talk. Then her boss comes over and he says that he wants her to turn into Jen mode because he wants to have a serious conversation. But it's kind of weird that you're doing it at a bar. and not an actual professional environment. Also, why are there a bunch of lawyers at this bar? Is this the lawyer bar? Because if so, that's the stupidest thing I've heard all year. You guys are gonna see each other at work tomorrow. You can just tell her then. But you see, the writers want to tell this joke that's coming up in a couple seconds, and they don't really care how they get to the joke. They just need to build the joke first before they set up any of the environment. Because we all know that that's how good movies are made. Anyway, she turns back to Gen mode and instantly gets drunk. Well, why would that happen? Well, watch this.
Are you okay? You need...
Yeah, different metabolism.
So it's a different metabolism type thing? Okay. But you see, the writers don't know how metabolism works, apparently. If Hulk form already drank the alcohol, and she wasn't drunk, that means that the alcohol was properly metabolized in her system already, and already made it through her body. So there's no reason for her human form to be drunk right now, unless there was a cut in between, and in between that cut, she drank a gazillion gallons of alcohol and shut up. Anyway, the boss comes up and he explains that they lost the case. They lost it because there was a mistrial. And the reason it's been declared a mistrial is because the jury would have had a bias towards her because she saved their life. And she says, "What do you mean? That was the good thing to do." And then he says, "Yes, that was the good thing to do. But we are firing you because we don't want further complications and do not want to draw attention to ourselves." What? Just because she saved one jury's life, that in itself means that she needs to be fired altogether? And the only explanation that we have for this is that saving one jury's life will affect all the other juries that she stands before in all of the future. Please try to explain to me how that makes a lick of sense. Then we wake up and she gets a voicemail from Bruce saying that if she ever needs anything or needs to talk about the situation, he's one call away. That'll be relevant later. Then we get a compilation of different law firms denying her work, but we still don't get an explanation to why though. If they're all using the same explanation, it still doesn't make sense. Then we see Jen and her friend finding jobs online on her couch. Then we get the most infinite shot in the episode. We see that she's looking for job offers and is considering going to work as a clown in Switzerland. Okay. We also see that this page on the top has a tab that says Find Ant-Man. But at this point, I'm wondering if anyone actually cares about Ant-Man. Because from the plot summary that I saw earlier this year, we all know that the new Ant-Man movie is not going to be good. Then we see that Wolverine has made his first cameo in the MCU. Now the new problem is to see if that is actually going to be canon or not, or if it's just going to break canon altogether. And we also see the MCU has finally addressed the giant celestial that's sticking out of the ocean. This was such a big thing that it actually got Eternals trending on Twitter. Let me say that again. Eternals was trending on Twitter. That's pretty big. And then her friend asks her, "Oh, what's wrong?" And she says,
Sorry, I'm sad and lonely.
"Ahem, your friend is right there. You can talk to them. They're a human being. They can help." Then we get another infamous shot, and we get a shot of her phone. Her home screen is just a picture of Captain America's booty. Ah yes, tearing down more legacy characters, I see. First the joke about Cap never sleeping with anyone, and now we have this. Forget idolizing Steve Rogers for being a great leader and a perfect person, never abandoning his morals even if it means losing a friend and tearing Earth's mightiest heroes apart, but in the end coming together and putting differences aside to save the universe, even if it means fighting till the last man. Nah, he's just hot. Anyway, she goes to her parents' house and her father says that he's told everyone about the situation. Ah, perfect. So her dad has told everyone at the dinner that she has become She-Hulk and she's going through a rough patch in life dealing with all these newfound powers, and it's best just not to bring it up in conversation because that would just further stress her out. Good job, Dad. Oh wait, that's not what he said? Wait, he only told them that she got fired from her job. Okay. Then we sit down for a meal, and Chad immediately brings it up. Way to go, Chad. He's not my favorite character, by the way. Chad even says he got a promotion at his job at Best Buy. Great job, Chad. Never change, buddy. Before she goes, her dad says that he needs help with something in the garage. That was a complete lie just to bring her into the garage to ask her if she is okay. Then they have a conversation that lacks any chemistry at all. She said that she didn't want people to find out this way, and now she feels punished for doing the right thing. And then she says this.
Well,
Maybe I should have just let those people get smushed by that desk.
sweetheart.
Listen, Jennifer, do you want to turn into this? I don't think you want to. Then her father gives her some pretty good advice. He says that the terrible thing that she feared has now already happened. So now you can move forward, move on, and become a stronger person for it. So what does she do with this incredible new advice from her father? She goes to the bar again. Great stuff. Then the lawyer from the opposing side of the court case earlier shows up. He says that they have opened a new division at their law firm and he wants her to be the head of it.
Take some time.
I accept.
Excuse me, are you not going to ask anything about the actual job? Like, I don't know, if you get an office, or what your pay is, or even any of the benefits, or asking literally anything else to do with the job. Nope, she just gets immediately hired without signing any contracts at all, or showing any documents of any qualifications at all, and goes to work the next day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how lawyers are hired. They just sit in bars and wait for other lawyers to come in and say, hey, I'll hire you. And then they say, okay. And they go work. Then cut to a shot of the giant facility, which is the new law firm that Jen is working at. She then fails to open the door. Funny. The boss lawyer guy then explains that since there's been so many superpowered individuals coming out into the public eye, they need to make a superhero division at the law firm. And they want Jen to be the head of it. But also she has to be in Hulk mode the entire time. Does the guy know the consequences of this? He now needs to get an entirely different setup and desk for her in her office and make sure that all of the stuff in the living space is appropriate for her to use and make sure that it doesn't break. She then transforms and goes into Hulk mode. Oh boy, is this CGI the roughest of the series. We saw a bit of this in the trailers from a couple months back, and you know, Disney came out and said that they'd make it better, except it's the same exact thing as the footage from the trailers. This entire hallway walking scene and all of this that happens in this office and building were absolutely not touched. These are the same as the trailers, and it's terrible. She then breaks the fourth wall to say this.
God, is this why they hired me? Okay, this sucks. I am totally qualified, but now everyone around here is always going to think this is the only reason I got the job. It's so unfair. I should be able to enjoy the fact that I just got an amazing new job, and I can't.
Yes, you were only hired because you're a tall, green, muscular woman, and not because of any of your actual talent. Wait, is this a meta-commentary on how giant entertainment corporations hire people because of their race and or gender instead of hiring people for their actual qualifications and talent, and then use that person's said race and gender to deflect any actual criticism about the show and or movie, even though that's the same thing that's happening with the making of the show? Then the main boss guy leads her down a hallway to where her office is. Her office is pimped out, very posh. It has big windows, a nice desk, great view, everything you could want. She walks in and her friend is there. She starts talking to her friend and says that she's only been hired because she's a superpowered individual and not because of her qualifications and merit. You would think that her friend would, you know, give her some advice. Maybe lead her to trying to apply for any other job. Maybe applying to a job that actually takes her merit and qualifications seriously and actually hires her because of so, instead of because she's just superpowered. Nope, she says this.
I just found out the only reason they hired me is because they wanted a Hulk lawyer in the Superhuman Law Division.
Yes, but look at everything it's getting us. Are you kidding? Big ass windows. Yes, a fully stocked mini fridge and a desk.
Wow, what a terrible friend. Then another lawyer dude shows up and gives them a welcome basket.
Hi there, I'm Pug. I'm also in the Superhuman Law Division.
Oh, I'm Jennifer Walters.
I made you guys a welcome basket.
Oh!
It's got some office supplies to get you started, snacks, and a map to the best bathroom for pooping.
Thank you.
I literally don't know what the joke is here. I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure it out, and I just cannot figure out what it is. Someone please help me. Anyway, she goes back and talks to her boss, and her boss says that she has a new job, a new case to take on. He explains that she is taking on the Abomination because the Abomination, for some reason, is being let free. She explains that she doesn't feel comfortable because the Abomination has attempted to kill Bruce, her cousin, and that's the reason why he was locked up. Then the boss says that if she doesn't take the case, she doesn't have a job here. And then it does this really funny zoom in on her face. Oh no, the drama. I wish I could feel the drama, but I've been blinded by this god-awful CGI that needed to be put back in the microwave for a solid 12 months, probably. Then she at least goes and decides to talk to Abomination, so she goes to the maximum security prison that he's held in. And for some reason, this maximum security prison looks like a science fiction futuristic opera house for some reason. Like, it looks like it has windows. What's the point? Like, why is that? This looks like an art museum. Like, why is that the maximum security prison? Anyway, she goes to the front door, and one of the guards says, no superpowered individuals are allowed in this area. So she just goes back into Jen mode, and her clothes very conveniently still fit on her. You know, you could have had a scene where her and her friend are making new clothes that accommodate her. Maybe her friend has another friend in the fashion industry, and she makes clothes for Jennifer that can stretch with her as she grows into Hulk and can shrink when she goes back down into Jen mode. But no, we don't get that scene. That could have been a good scene. That could have been funny. There's a lot of humor in that. But no, because apparently these writers aren't funny, and so they just skip to where the clothes don't work naturally. They're just normal clothes that would never work like that. Anyway, then the guard steps through this laser gate, and Jen hesitates to go through said laser gate for some reason. The guard tells her, go through the laser gate, and then she goes through the laser gate. And at this point, what's the laser gate for exactly? And also, what's the joke here? Because I feel like I'm supposed to laugh. Was the joke that she hesitated going through the laser gate? Ha, funny. Also, what's the point of the laser gate? Just have like a normal gate? Also, what does the laser gate do? None of these questions are answered, and we just move on and consume the product. Then we get to the door where Abomination is staying, and the guard gives her an iPad for her to sign a contract, and she doesn't even sign on the line she's supposed to. Also, she signs it nonchalantly without even giving any interest to what the contract says. Excuse me, you're a lawyer. You should know the importance of contracts. You've probably had cases that you've dealt with where someone has broken a contract and they're being sued. At least give it a second to read, or just skim over it at least. Nah, you just sign that. I'm sorry, but this isn't like any Google's terms of service or anything. This is a prison, and they tell you you could die. So please, at least put a little care into reading the actual contract. The guard also tells her to give a name and number of someone that they should contact in case of emergency. And she doesn't tell him the name or give him a number. She doesn't even write it down. But then she just walks in like she already did it. Okay, I'm getting really tired. I'm on the edge of going in a coma right now. She goes in and she's told not to cross the yellow line. She then crosses the yellow line.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
He then explains that he was given the super serum and was told to hunt down the Hulk and kill him by the government. He thought he was the superhero in this situation, which is a reasonable understanding if you didn't watch the movie. Anyway, Jen then tells him that the board is going to need to know that he feels sorry for his actions. He then says this.
Absolutely, I do. See, and I have here various haikus that I've written.
Oh boy.
To each of my victims, expressing the sorrow.
Oh, you don't have
If
to.
you'd like to experience them.
That's okay, I can.
My tiny ears here.
If I were your attorney, I would advise you to speak truthfully from the heart instead of trying to gauge what you think they might want to hear.
That's all from the heart, Jen.
Ah, funny. Then later that day, Jen calls Bruce about the situation and asks him if he's comfortable with her doing so. You would think that this would be a serious scene. It's not a serious scene. Just let it play out.
Hey Jen, what's up?
Bruce, hey, listen, I got a new job.
Hey, congratulations, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but part of the deal is I have to take on Emil Blonsky as a client, and I couldn't do that without talking to you first.
Okay,
I
so
mean, it doesn't seem like you hold a grudge. At least you've never talked about that before.
That's,
and you're always saying that, everybody deserves a second chance. And I'm
I
not
think if-
falling for an act here, but Blonsky did seem to have really good arguments, He was so compelling, and maybe I want to believe that he's reformed.
Well, sure,
You
we
know,
all
isn't
wanna be.
rehabilitation something that we should strive for as a society?
That's what you'd
But
hope
none
for.
of that matters if you
Jen.
don't feel comfortable with it.
I think you're calling me to tell me you're taking the job.
I'm calling you to tell you I'm taking the job.
Yep, it plays out as funny as you expect, which means not funny. Didn't laugh. Hey, quick reminder, do you remember that spaceship from last episode? Well, apparently, Hulk is on that ship now. Now, if you're a moron out there, you would probably say, oh, that explains why the ship showed up in the first place, because it was trying to contact Bruce. My question is how did the ship know that Bruce was on the road? And why did it know his exact location? Questions that rise, nitpicks to be had that are never explained. Anyway, Bruce hangs up on her because he goes into outer space and he goes into hyperspace and loses contact with the phone. Even though that he was already in space, so how did the phone have a cell connection at the time when he was in space? Don't know. Monkey brain didn't ask. Then she goes ahead and calls her boss and says that she has decided to take the job. She says that she has a bulletproof plan and that there is no way that she can lose this case. He then says, oh, that's great, why don't you go and check the news? And then she checks the news, and this happens.
You have a good evening, sir.
So far, there have been no statements made by Emil Blonsky's attorney after shocking footage leaked showing the abomination participating in what appears to be an underground fight club after having somehow escaped from prison.
Alright, so apparently the show is now running simultaneously with Shang-Chi. I guess? It could be during or after Shang-Chi. I have no idea. But yep, that's how the show ends. There's also a post-credit scene at the end where Jennifer is just helping her parents move things in the house. She moves 5-gallon buckets of water. She sets up the TV again. Chad's there. Let's go, my boy Chad. But yeah, that's really how the show ends. You know, at first I thought that this episode, which was much better and didn't have as many criticisms, but as I was watching it again for this video script, I found out that there were a lot more issues than the last one. I'm still not going to give this show a number out of 10 yet. I'm going to wait for the show to actually be over until I give you a number and my opinion. I have a number in my head, roughly, of where I would place it right now. I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you that it's pretty rough right now. And yes, I am very terrified what the next episode will be like and how they will treat Daredevil, because listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not a fan of the mustard McDonald's suit, okay? People out there might be saying, oh, but it's accurate to the comics. Shut up, I don't care about the comics. That suit is dumb. But anyway, if you guys like this video, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next episode of She-Hulk.